Good morning, YouTubers. How are ya? Kelly and I, we're getting our headphones on.
We're getting
We're looking at the weather,
Yeah.
looking at the tropical
Mhm.
outlook,
Mhm.
and we're doing. The weather's today going to be pretty good offshore. The seas are flat, pretty flat, and there is some patchy fog out there. So
Mhm.
be careful this morning. And some of those
Yeah.
low-lying areas of the county. Just hang in there. Got a lot on our plate today. Um, Ron DeSantis has got a big announcement sometime today,
Mhm.
but they say it's not campaign related. So I wonder what that's about.
Hmm.
Then in the studio this morning, we're going to have an insurance agent in here talking about hurricane coverage, among other things.
Mhm.
And then at 8 o'clock, all things sports. The Jacksonville Onsla Sports Commission
Mhm.
Associate Director Marissa Reeder will be here. And there's some big things happening this weekend and next weekend. So she'll tell you all about that when we get around to it. Live and local real talk goes live in about 3 minutes or so, right after Fox News break. Hang in there. And a good Thursday morning to you. I'm Rayford Brown,
And I'm Kelly Knapp.
and it's shaping up to be a fairly decent day. And for you boaters out there who'd like to go offshore fishing, today would be your day. Today and tomorrow, by the way, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. Weather's the seas are looking nice, so even Kelly could handle it, no doubt.
We'll see about
Let's see
that.
about that. Yeah. Lots going on in the news, of course. Coming up here this morning at 7:30, we have Marissa Reeder with the
No, 7:30 we have Morgan
Cunningham is what I said.
Mm-hmm.
The other M word, right?
Yeah.
Morgan Cunningham at 7:30 with the Brown Insurance Agency.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be in here talking about that H word that we try not to say too much about, but some information you need to know about your insurance and what it covers and does not cover. So we'll get into some of the nuts and bolts of that at 7:30. At 8 o'clock, Marissa Reeder, Associate Director of the Jacksonville Onsla Sports Commission, joins us. Big doings this weekend and the following weekend in the sports world, things that are happening locally that she'll talk to us about and all that. We're still following the case of the screwed up, really screwy sounding story about a pilot and a co-pilot aboard a 10-person airplane coming into Raleigh-Durham last weekend, and it only landed with the co-pilot at the helm, and landed with a broken strut or a broken landing gear or whatever.
Yeah.
It had to do kind of a controlled crash landing. He walked away from it, but he was treated and released at the hospital. And he's saying that the pilot, they were out about 30 miles or so away from Raleigh, and the pilot jumped out of the airplane. No parachute, just jumped.
Yeah. That's so bizarre. I have thought that was bizarre from the get-go.
It's not.
Especially due to the family's reaction. I mean, they are adamant that he would not have jumped.
Yeah, well,
I mean, as
you hear that all the
but
time.
there are no indications he had any issues, nothing.
No. He was an instructor too.
Yeah,
He's a young guy, 23, I think he was.
Yeah.
Been wanting to fly all of his life, and he has been licensed 3 or 4 years, and then he became an instructor and also commercial pilot.
Yeah.
So he could fly commercial stuff. Something had to be really, really, really screwed up here if he jumped. I would think, personally, if they were experiencing problems with the gear, that he could open the door and lean, the passenger door on the side of the plane, because it was on the right-hand side that the landing gear had problems. Okay. But if that was the case, I can almost see somebody opening the door and leaning out to look underneath to see what's going on. That's what I could see that happening.
Well, I'm telling you, it has come out that other lawyers,
a lawyer
and a pilot.
Well, the lawyer is a pilot.
Yeah, he's saying something's not right.
Yeah, well, yeah, we figure something's not right, and the guy, the survivor, he knows.
Yeah.
They're talking with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we just don't know what they're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
No,
well, I read online that those planes have like a kind of like a cockpit, like it'll record what's going on in the cockpit. So if they were fighting it out up in there, it's going to be on the recording.
It'll be there. Yeah.
So you're going to hear exactly what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
So more to come on that one as soon as that little black box shows up.
Yeah.
Tragic situation in Indiana yesterday about noon. A head-on wreck claimed the life of a congresswoman and 3 other people. 58-year-old Indiana Representative Jackie Walorski was in a car with another man and a woman, both members of her staff. Both of them were in their 20s when an oncoming car swerved partially into their lane. Walorski and the others in the car died head on. Man. The driver of the other car, a 56-year-old woman, was pronounced dead at the scene. Don't know why she swerved. We don't have a clue yet, but I'm sure lots of stuff will come out.
Correct.
It's real.
Yeah.
Inflation, outrageous prices for most everything out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If the Biden band can't figure it out, remaining in denial, they should see what's happening at Walmart. The big wigs at Walmart announced they are going to have to cut staff. Prices are so high that shoppers have cut way back on what they buy. Instead of having are actually small in number, about 200. Those are at the corporate level, or so we're being told. Walmart's also announced that it has adjusted its earnings for stockholders, and it will likely drop by 8 to 9% for the second quarter. Uh-oh.
Yep.
11 to 13% is predicted for next year. Yes. Now we're still going to go for the necessities like food, of course, but the prices for that have skyrocketed. As a result, more people are spending less on general merchandise. That's not good for the American economy.
No, it's not at all.
We've got to have food.
Yeah.
We got to have that, but we don't have to have all the other stuff that Walmart sells. That's where people are backing down. The days of ugly are here to stay for the foreseeable future. No more Geico offices in California.
No, they're kicking out Geico?
No, it's not kicking out. The company closed all 38 of its offices. You can still get a policy, but only online.
Huh.
In California.
What's their reason?
They're offering no information. They're not telling anybody why they're doing this. What's happening?
So they're fed up with California like a whole bunch of
That
other
could very
people.
well be.
Okay.
The California Department of Insurance is keeping an eye on Geico, and it's more than 2 million customers in California. Those people can still keep their policies. They still do business. They just they won't be able to go to a Geico brick and mortar place in California. Weird.
Yeah. Does anybody even go to a?
I don't know. We'll ask Morgan when she gets here too. If it's as Biden is claiming, Putin was to blame for the rise in gasoline prices, but never fear, he said. The president says, "I'm bringing those prices down." In my opinion, he's full of himself. The day before the 2020 elections, gas prices in Jacksonville were about $2.12. Where I shopped, they were $2.12. I remembered it well.
And then it went downhill quickly.
Even before Biden took office in January, prices started going up and up and up and up and up. Now, should Biden take the blame that many of us send his way? Should he be held responsible for this because he got elected?
Yes, any other president would. Why not him? Yes, that's partly what people do when stuff like that happens. You blame the president. Yes. So yes.
Well, I don't think so.
Because if it were Trump, they would blame Trump.
Oh, well, they blame Trump. They blame Trump even now.
Yeah.
Biden has blamed Trump and Putin together.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
Lord.
What's going to bring the gas prices down? I don't know what's bringing them down now.
I don't know. I have an answer. I don't have an answer.
It's certainly, I don't know either, but I don't think it has anything to do with what Biden is doing, not coming down. It's what he was doing, just being there is the reason they went up. Why are we celebrating the lower prices? $3, I saw $3.39 yesterday. Why are we celebrating lower prices when gas is still well over $3 a gallon?
Because we were paying like $4.50, $5. It depends on where you went. That's why.
Food prices continue to go up because truckers are spending much more money on diesel fuel just to get the food and just about everything else we need or want to the stores, the big box stores, the grocery stores. It takes trucks and truckers to get those things there. Trucks use diesel. Diesel has not come down much.
But wages are not going up.
Wages, well, they can't go up. Spending it all on gas and diesel. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Mr. President, if I could just have your ear, your approval numbers are in the toilet. Your own party is fed up with you.
Yeah.
The Democrats at the top have a problem. Forcing you out will only send another dumb as dirt replacement to fill the position. And that will do nothing to shore up the 2024 presidential race.
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's just already starting to get ugly, and we've got a ways away yet.
Oh,
we haven't got through this election.
No, we
haven't. Falls.
No,
so,
we haven't.
Yeah.
We got the midterms coming up. That's going to be the telling tale of what's going to happen. I think if the Democrats get their hats handed to them in November, then I don't know what the Democrats will do about the 2024 election process.
If the Democrats, in my opinion, if the Democrats get their butts handed to them this fall, they absolutely will not endorse Biden. They will figure out a way not to have him.
He'll resign. I mean, he will, he will announce that he's not going to run for re-election.
They'll have to seriously pressure him into that. Well, I think he likes the limelight, though. I mean, who wouldn't?
That limelight is not too good for him.
Oh, I agree.
30% approval rating.
I hear you. That ain't some people are in denial about that.
But when more and more Democrats are saying, we made a mistake. Just it's just the same story.
I agree.
It was when Trump was running for re-election. A whole bunch of Republicans said, no.
Yeah.
And independents bailed.
Yeah. And mainly if he, like I've said repeatedly for a year now, if he'd have just stayed off Twitter, I truly believe he would have been reelected. He just could not, because he came across as a bully and maybe that's what he was, but he was a victim of his own ego. And I say that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, he just could not, he wouldn't listen to anybody around him.
He had great ideas.
Yeah, and he had excellent ideas.
He did a great job.
Some were wacky like everybody else's, but he did a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say, for everything about him I wasn't wild about, he genuinely seemed to have the American public's best interests at heart.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. His methods at times were just not correct. I just think he was a victim of his own ego. He was so used to being in charge and just doing whatever he wanted to that if he'd have just stayed off Twitter, I fully believe he would have been reelected.
You're fired. Yeah. Remember those days?
Yes.
So, I mean, he could do that.
Yeah.
Because he owned it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't own the country, Bubba. You're nothing but a servant.
But going on Twitter, calling people names, calling whatever, that's what did him in.
It is.
Because nobody wants to hear that. I don't care who you are.
Now, along the political range right now, I'm wondering about a big announcement coming from Florida Governor Ron Desantis this morning. His office says it will cause a meltdown of the liberal media. DeSantis, of course, is a Republican. He's been toying with the idea of going after the Republican nomination for president in 2024.
But he's got a gubernatorial run, too.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's announced that he has announced publicly that he's seeking re-election.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
I don't know. When I first heard it, up until I heard what you said, what he said is going to shake the liberals, I thought, his wife's had cancer. And I thought maybe it was some kind of announcement about her. But it's not. No. That has nothing to do with shaking up liberals. So it's not that. I have no idea. Well, and I'm not a huge fan of him. I think he's a little bit of a weirdo. I don't like all his policies. But
he's number 2 in the running.
I know.
In the polling, anyway.
Not a fan.
His office, a bunch of Twitter exchanges overnight, said it will be an official announcement coming from his office. If he or anyone else officially announces they're seeking office, they come under all sorts of rules and have to file for regular financial reports. You know that, right?
Yeah.
The minute you announce.
Yeah.
And since he's already announced that he's seeking re-election as the governor, that would be a bit awkward, do you not think, to announce that he was going to run for president this early? This early is kind of early.
It's too early. He hadn't even had
2 years out.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That can't be what it is.
Then his office in a follow-up tweet last night said, "Today's announcement is official business and has nothing to do with the campaign." I'll tell you one thing. His press secretary certainly knows how to write teases. Could go into the media anytime.
I agree
that was a great, got everybody's attention.
Got everybody talking. So maybe he's unveiling some new bill. But no, you can't do that. He can't do that. I don't know. Who knows?
So for whatever it's worth, I want to hear from you Republicans or the people who are like me, the unaffiliated, either Kelly's crowd or my crowd. And my crowd is luring her into its web to getting closer every day.
That's mainly due to local nonsense.
Yeah,
people don't know how to act around.
But if you're a Republican or you're not affiliated, but you are a voter, and you're a likely voter, that's the difference now. You're a likely voter in 2024. Who would you support right now, DeSantis or Trump? Or do you have somebody else out there? Would you support DeSantis or Trump? They're 1 and 2 in the polling.
Oh, man, why'd you do that to me?
So
if I had to choose between one, oh gosh, Rayford. If I had to pick between one of those
I got a quarter. I can flip it for you if you want.
I would probably honestly probably pick Trump. And I cannot believe I'm saying that.
Well,
over DeSantis.
Let me just throw a little bit there.
Okay.
If you're
But I don't like either one of them.
if you're a party person,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
picking Trump, you only get one term,
Mm-hmm.
and then the whole party is going to have to be busting butt again
Mm-hmm.
in 2028 to start from scratch.
Why?
Well, because Trump can only run one term. He's already served one term.
Yeah, but I thought once you've had a break, you can,
No,
it doesn't
no,
count
no,
that way?
no, no,
Okay.
no. It's not. It's
Well, one
not.
term of Trump, in my opinion, will probably be enough anyway.
Well, he's going to have to
Yeah.
go fix what
Yeah.
screwed up for the last 2
I
years of his
agree.
first term.
Yeah.
Because here's the problem, and
But Trump's a go-getter. He could
I-
multitask, fix, and
not as long as he's
Yeah.
got people saying we're going to impeach you, we're
well,
going
I
to do
agree with
this,
that.
we're going.
Yeah.
All he did was have to defend himself,
But let's
mostly
be
for
real.
2 years.
A lot
strong
of them
time.
would try to impeach Desantis too, because he thinks a lot like Trump, and they were talking about trying to do that in some of his Florida policies or things he was announcing.
well-
So, I don't know that you'd get any. That's why I say you wouldn't get much better with him than with Trump.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I told you who I want to run, or even Nikki Haley. I wish she'd run. I like her. She's awesome.
I don't think she could get the support,
I know.
the wide
I know.
support.
But she'd make a good one.
What about Hillary? Do you think she?
You stop right there.
Do you think
You
she would
stop
even
right
stand a
there.
chance?
No, I still don't think she would.
Okay.
Because even there are a
just
lot
make
of
a lot of
Democrats that
noise.
don't like
Oh,
her.
I know.
Yeah.
A big chunk of Democrats don't like
Yeah.
her.
So no, I don't think she would do it no matter what.
All right, Timmy, you're a Republican or unaffiliated?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Who would you support? I'm just going to give you two choices right now: DeSantis or Trump, 2024.
I had to flip a coin on that, but I have thought about Trump and then DeSantis being VP, and then I have thought about Trump and Nikki being VP, and I have thought about DeSantis and Nikki being VP.
Well,
and the real far-fetched way to go would be one of these days have Mark Robinson up there. And I know people
He's got to get the governorship first.
I would love to see him be president one day.
That's not a bad idea. Let's see if they can make him VP in 2028.
Yeah.
Let him serve 4 years as governor and get some more experience, and then let him be the running mate in 2028 for whoever, and then 8 years later, perhaps he could make a presidential run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I'm looking at, and you hit the nail on the head. Trump was a bully, but I'll tell you, Trump reminded me a lot about how Reagan was. The other countries were scared of Reagan because they watched his old cowboy movie.
That's why the hostages were turned loose.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then you got Trump. They were scared to death of him because he said, "I'll bomb them. I'll do this and I'll do that." And when I elected Trump, I said we need a businessman in there. We really need a businessman in there to get things done. And he didn't do it politically. He went in there to get things done, and that's what made everybody mad. All of that. That's what made Washington mad. He wanted to cut through the political red tape and get it done.
Mm-hmm. I
and
agree.
that's a businessman for you. And they didn't like him on that. And they were steadily cutting him down. Everybody putting him down. But I'm like what Kelly says. DeSantis is all his marbles ain't in a row sometimes. And that's my opinion. But
I agree.
it would be. I would do a Trump DeSantis VP deal. I would do that. But that's just what I want to do.
I think Trump. I think Trump would have to fight DeSantis all the time if he was his VP.
I agree.
He probably would.
Yeah.
But like you say, he has a lot of ideas like Trump had too. I mean, he bucked the government on this on the masking deal and all that stuff back when the pandemic was hitting. He was bucking everything he could buck.
Yep.
So, and I commended him for that. Just like Sheriff, Grady Judd down in Polk County. He needs to run for something.
Yeah.
Now, he be a no-nonsense guy, too.
Yeah.
I do like him. But, no, that's my opinion.
Okay.
Be honest with you. But I'll let y'all go. Behave. Be safe.
I'll be
Well,
safe,
be
but I
good
will not
at it.
behave.
Okay.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.
Take a quick break and do a little bit of weather. You're live and local, Real Talk Freedom, 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. If you've been shopping for the boat that you really, really want, you know it's tough to find it, right? Tideline Marine has several top-end Lund boats. They're John boats, perfect for the backwaters and creeks, as well as the White Oak and New Rivers. And also, they got several AquaSport bay boats in stock. If you're serious, Tideline is taking orders for motors and boats and trailers for delivery in 2023. If that sounds ridiculous, you need to understand that the boat manufacturers are backed up and are still trying to fill orders for this year. Stop in and chat with George about how you want your boat designed. He'll gladly help you. Tideline Marine and Family, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Much better marine forecast today than we've had going into last weekend. Southwesterly winds today, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3, dominant period 4 seconds. A little dicey in the inlet, but after you get out there, you'll be doing fine. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop. Friday and Saturday, both days, about identical. Southerly winds 5 to 10, seas only 2 feet, dominant period 6 seconds. So take advantage of the weather to head offshore and bring some fish home for dinner. And if you get more than you want, you know where I am.
Okay. All right.
You'll help me clean them, won't you?
I might help you do that part. Yeah.
And help me eat them.
I'm not going to eat them. No. All right. Today, mostly sunny, high of 93, with heat index values as high as 103 and gusty with gusts as high as 16 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 75. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 91. Wind gusts tomorrow as high as 17 miles an hour. Tomorrow night, clear, low of 75. And on Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 91. Actually, the winds will be pretty calm on Saturday. So
it's looking
finally,
good.
yeah.
It's looking really good
Yeah.
for the weekend, or at least first part. I didn't check
Yeah.
Sunday yet. We try going into the June. We try not to say that H word too much. However, it is a fact. It's a
I
reality.
say it, but you don't. But yeah.
And out there, you were looking at some kind of waves in the Atlantic and the Caribbean this morning, but there is no indication of any tropical cyclone formation.
Correct.
For the next 5 days at least. However, we can hope for the best this hurricane season, but we need to prepare for perhaps the worst. One thing that's often overlooked is insurance coverage. No doubt you have insurance, but do you know what's covered in the event of a devastating storm? Morgan Cunningham with the Brown Insurance Agency right here in Jayville. She's joining us now. Hey, I've got insurance. We've all got insurance, right?
Yes.
How do we know if it's the right thing?
Well, the first thing is definitely have a great agent to help you out. That is the biggest thing. I think a lot of people are unsure of what insurance is, especially when it comes to your homeowners and your property. They just kind of go out there, trust your agent to handle it for you, and don't ask questions. That's totally fine. That's what agents are for. We're licensed. It's our job. We love it. Everyone kind of hops in not really knowing if they're going to like insurance, and they get sucked into the world, and you learn all this information, and it's wonderful. So find yourself a licensed agent, a good one. They will talk you through everything that you have if you have questions. But that's also why I'm here this morning.
Okay.
So
along the coast, we're kind of unique here, right?
Yes, we are.
Flood insurance is important. In some places is required.
Yes.
But how about for those of us who live 20 miles from the ocean? We don't have a river. I don't live on a river. I don't live on a big creek or a lake or anything like that. How important is flood insurance?
So I always say this: if you are not in a high hazard flood zone, it is a personal choice. But as so many of us know from Florence, a lot of people had flood damage and they weren't covered by their home insurance. So a big thing with our area is that we are considered in the insurance world a coastal territory. So all of these counties right here on the coast, so Onsla County, Pender, Duplin, New Hanover, all the way to the tidal waters of the ocean. We are considered a coastal territory. We are all in a flood zone according to the National Flood Program, FEMA. It's just a matter of what you are considered as a hazard. So right now in Jacksonville, most of us are a flood level X. What that means is there's about less than 0.1% of flooding within that 100-year flood zone. So what I like to tell people is if you're not in a flood zone that is typically an AE and A, which is a very high hazard, you're close to a river, close to a stream, close to the ocean, take a look at getting flood insurance, because most of the time it is nothing. Annually.
It doesn't cost anything.
Well, it does cost something,
nothing
but
significant.
Nothing significant. Most of the time, the rates have adjusted a little bit, but most of the time when you're not in a high level flood zone, you can get anywhere from $500 to $900 a year. So not bad at all, honestly, compared to when you're in a higher flood zone, you could look at anywhere from 900 and above. Obviously higher the closer you get to the ocean and how close you are to a body of water.
Yeah, there are a lot of homes built on New River in Sneads Ferry in Jacksonville now. Lots of riverfront, waterfront house. So I know that during Florence, there was a whole lot of water that came over the banks. So that's one thing. Now, we hear something called wind and hail coverage.
Yes.
Does my homeowners automatically provide, if a tornado comes in and it snatches the roof off my house, or just some damage because of some shingles that are destroyed or whatever? Do I have regular coverage if I don't have wind and hail clause?
If you do not have wind and hail coverage, you are not going to have coverage from wind-driven rain, or hail, or anything that would be damage to your home that would be caused by that. How do you know if you have wind and hail? Well, just about, if you're buying a house here, you're most likely going to have wind and hail. Most lenders in our area require you to have wind and hail coverage.
Yeah, but suppose I don't have a mortgage.
In that case, you definitely want to make sure that you have it. So different carriers will offer different things. If you, let's say, for the example, you don't have a mortgage, you're buying a home and you need to go out and get homeowners insurance in our area. If you just pick up the phone, call a 1-800 number, they may not require you to have wind and hail because some carriers only offer a fire homeowners policy. That means it excludes wind and hail coverage. So you always want to ask if they offer that. If they do not offer that, what they're going to do is write that through the North Carolina Underwriters Association. So an example of that is USAA. They do not offer that. So what they do is they write you your fire homeowners policy, which includes every other peril except wind and hail. And then they write you a separate policy through North Carolina Underwriting. There are other companies that combine both. So you can just go through an independent agent in our area. Most of us have a carrier that will offer both of those coverages combined. And then you only have one policy versus two.
If you, for instance, you just go back to USAA. You've got you got your cars, you got your this and that in your house by USAA. Can you get they can write you a policy,
Yes.
but it's through North Carolina, right?
Yes.
What is a normal policy for wind and hail, or if you got it combined, how much extra is wind and hail? Because a lot of people look at that. That's pretty expensive, isn't it?
It can be. The one thing about insurance is it depends on what's being offered for coverages, and then it really depends on the structure. So when you're talking about writing a wind and hail coverage policy through NCJUA, the rates are basically where you are in the territory. So some territories are rated a little bit higher than others based on potential wind risk and water risk. So if you live in Swansboro or Hubert, you are in a much higher rated territory versus if you're in the middle of Jacksonville. So that takes into consideration the rate as well as the replacement cost of the home, how much it would be to replace the home in like and kind materials in today's market.
Lightning strikes. We've had a lot of lightning lately, and I've heard the fire department rolling to a lot of stuff. Is the normal homeowners policy, does that cover lightning?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So when you're looking at your homeowners policies are what we consider in the insurance world an HO3. So that is a insurance form that covers all other perils unless otherwise excluded. Lightning is always included there. So any damage that is caused by lightning is going to be covered by your homeowners. What you want to take a look at then is what your deductibles are. So on your policy, you're going to have a deductible called all other perils. That is where that lightning is going to come out of. So you'll want to take a look at your deductible, see how much your kind of damage you think may be, and then your home insurance will take the claim from there.
Okay. Theft. We've all been subjected to somebody stealing some of our stuff at one time or another. That can be, depending upon what it is, your insurance may cover it, but there's a big deductible, right? Quite often.
Not necessarily. It really depends. Again, lots of those things, if they are not wind and hail, they're going to come under your all other peril deductible. So that's when you're looking at your homeowners, when you're thinking of all of those things like lightning, theft, vandalism, you want to take a look at what you have for deductibles. So most standard, they have a $2,500 all other peril deductible. So if you have something that's stolen or you have damage to your home that doesn't meet that deductible, you just don't even do a claim. Just don't do it.
And sometimes it's you hear the story. Okay, if I file a claim, I might get $500 or even a couple $1,000. Is that going to raise my rates?
Yes. The one thing about insurance, it's there to help you, but the best way to think of it is it's for accidents, true accidents of, there's outside of your control that you couldn't handle this.
Mhm.
It's a shame. But when it comes to claims, insurance companies at your renewal will look at that history. And what they're saying is, we're evaluating this risk we're taking on. How much of a risk are you going to be?
Mhm.
And they look at your location, your home, your claim history, your insurance score, which can factor in a lot of things like, do you pay your bills on time? So they take all of that in. So if you are a person who submits habitual claims, just know that in the future, when your renewals come up, you're going to see a significant increase. And then let's say you sell your home and you move to a new one and have to get a new insurance policy, that could prevent you from finding the best coverage because certain carriers might decline you. And then you'll be stuck with, only one option that is going to be really, really high.
Mm.
I see that quite often, especially if you do claims such as if you have a lot of theft claims. If you have most carriers in their underwriting rules will say for claim history, if you have more than one theft claim in the last 3 years, you may not be eligible. The perspective there is, if you have a lot of theft claims, you're either a habitual claim trying to rip off the insurance company, or you live in a high crime area and they may not want to insure there.
Let's go back to the storm for just a second. There's all sorts of things there. We lost a lot of stuff in Florence because the power was off, right?
Yep.
3 freezers with a whole bunch of meat and stuff in them.
Yep.
Went away.
That coverage is considered refrigerated property. That is a add-on addition, an endorsement, so to speak.
Really?
Yep, into your policy. So they're not always automatically included. It varies carrier to carrier if they automatically include it or not. Most that I see, you have to add on the addition. It's not expensive. Everyone should add that on to their policy. If you are getting a homeowner's policy, just ask in the process, hey, do you offer refrigerated property? That's something I'm thinking about. I really want to add on. It is usually not even more than like $10, more than that, $10 to $20 on the premium.
Really?
Yep. And you can get up to $500, and there's a very small deductible. So easy coverage, easy to ask for, definitely. You just don't think about it. But yeah, it's considered an additional endorsement, so you have to actually add it on to the standard homeowner's policy.
Need an agent, don't you? You need somebody just not to do it online.
Yes, honestly, I see the perks, I see the convenience of going online or calling a 1-800 number, which even if you call a 1-800 number, you get a licensed agent. But I always think when it comes to something like this, you should have a local agent because you have the benefit of picking up the phone, calling them. We're all here. We work Monday through Friday. We work on the weekends. If you need anything, if you have an emergency, and we can explain things to you. And if we don't know the answer, because insurance is always changing, we're going to find out. We're going to call underwriting, call our regional people for our insurance carriers, and we'll find the answer for you. And it's nice to have an insurance agent because at the end of the day, if there's something wrong, we can fight it for you because we know the stuff. We know what goes on. We know how the claim process works. So we're here for your assistance and for your understanding. And it's just so much easier to have someone you have quick access to, in my opinion.
Okay. Trees down during a storm.
Yep.
Damaging cars, homes, fences.
Yes. So
covered.
Yep, covered.
If they have wind and hail damage.
Yes.
Wind and hail covered. Yep.
Yep. So how they'll look at that is if a hurricane comes in and the wind was the caused peril of that tree down, that will fall under your wind and hail coverage. If it hits anything, if it hits your physical dwelling, that's covered. If it hits your attached structures, which are your fences, your garages, things like that, that's covered. If it falls and hits a shed, that's in the middle of your backyard, that's also covered. That falls under other structures on your homeowner's policy. So all good to go there. If it hits your vehicle, that's going to fall into your auto insurance.
Suppose you got a vehicle in your yard that's $1,000 car that you don't owe anything on, and you don't have anything but except the liability insurance required, and it damages it.
That is a great question. What would happen there is a claim adjuster you'd probably submit it on your claim. I would submit it on auto still because your homeowner's separate from your auto. And then the claim adjusters would go from there on if they would cover it. If you don't have physical damage coverage and just liability, it's a good chance they probably won't cover it.
Okay.
You can always fight it though.
Yeah. When I do have damage and they pay out, you guys pay up, send a check.
Yes, the insurance carrier will send a check.
And then when that happens, if I just say, hey, I can use this money for something else, what happens then? If you have a mortgage, it's a different story. You're not going to get the money, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have a mortgage?
Honestly, I don't, that's a great question. I don't know the specifics on that. If no one's watching you, but honestly, you really shouldn't do that. That's not what that's for. It's for strictly your property, and you could run into issues there too. If the carrier knows that you didn't complete any of that, that work or use that money fraudulently, then you have the potential to not be able to get insurance at all because that is on the application.
And why would you not want to repair?
Have you not been around some of these places?
I know somebody during Florence that did it. Like we had about $35,000 worth of damage to my daughter's house when the roof collapsed during Florence. You don't think for a second we pocketed 1 cent of that money? I mean,
I'm sure
that kid got new walls, new roof, new flooring. I mean, the house was almost gutted, basically. But I know people at that same time that had similar damage. They're like, well. And we'll make the repairs. And how many years later still aren't done? Okay. How? Why? How could you live like that? But people do it all the time.
Come on.
I know. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. Ask your husband about rating some of these houses. And
I fired the first group of contractors because they weren't working fast enough. So I went with somebody. I think they were from out of town. I think they were they were a little high, but yeah. When it went to next people, by December, she was back in the house. That's right, about 2 weeks before Christmas. Yay.
Perfect. Yeah. Let's take a break. I want to talk to you about renter's insurance because a lot of people in this area rent. And they might not know that their personal property ain't covered by the homeowner's insurance. You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. And we're back and in the studio with us, Morgan Cunningham. She's an insurance agent with the Brown Insurance Agency.
But before you ask that, someone messaged me with a question.
Okay.
And it's actually a good question.
Okay. I will try to have an answer.
They said, if a homeowner has removed trees that would have been a hazard to their home during a storm, would it be beneficial for the homeowner to contact their insurance company to let them know that they remove these hazards and perhaps that maybe they would lower their rate?
Yes, actually, that's a great question. And yes, you should do that. Anytime you make changes to your property, let's say you tear down trees, you tear down hazards, you add improvements to the home, always call your insurance agent because in the case of trees, the carrier that you have most likely offers a clear discount. So a clear space discount, meaning there's not a high probability that things are going to fall on your home. And then also too, they can look at replacement cost if you make other additions to the home. So anytime you do changes like that to, removing hazards, adding additions to the home, upgrades, let your insurance agent know because they can see what they can offer you as far as discounts and if they need to make any changes to your replacement cost.
Okay.
A local insurance agent like yourself, you've got you can write it under a whole variety of companies,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Like USAA and all the others.
So not necessarily USAA, but independent agents in our area, we are able to write with multiple carriers. So it kind of depends on how you're set up. If you're someone who is with Allstate, then you would write with Allstate. If you're an independent agent like myself, you're going to write with other carriers, other brokers that offer insurance coverage. Certain companies like USAA, Geico, Liberty Mutual, those don't always have, actually most of them don't have in brick and mortar kind of agencies. You have to call the number. So it just depends based on the carrier and how they set up their business model.
Okay. Renters, a lot of folks in here, they rent homes while they're in service here, or they rent homes just because that's what they would rather do. They may
Mhm.
be moving around a lot every couple of 3 years. They've got certain things, but a lot of stuff in a home that they rent, like the refrigerator, stove, and all that stuff, that's already in the home.
Yes.
That's going to be covered.
So anything that is permanently attached to the home is
Mhm.
going to be covered under the property owner's insurance
Got it.
policy. So if you are in an apartment complex, that apartment complex is going to have a master insurance policy. Those things will cover the things permanently attached. So the apartment itself and those appliances. Same thing with a home. If the homeowner they should have dwelling insurance that will cover that.
Mhm.
Renter's insurance is really focused on your personal property.
Okay.
So everything that you own and that is yours and can be removed from that structure.
Okay. It's stuff that you own that somebody going to come in and steal or is
Yes.
damaged
Yes.
during a storm or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yep.
You better get insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly,
Or don't own anything.
Yeah, renter's insurance is so cheap. If you are living in a home that is not yours, you don't own it. You're living with, a family member. You're living in a home that you're renting out, living in an apartment. Just get renter's insurance because you don't think about how much when a hurricane comes through and might rip the roof off and all of your stuff is damaged. You don't think about how much that actually is when you have nothing left. And two, with renter's insurance, you can get your personal property covered. Most start at about 20,000 and up. You can adjust. So like North Carolina Joint Underwriters offers renter's insurance and you can adjust that personal property. Other carriers have a minimum, which is usually 20,000 or 30,000. You can also tack on personal liability coverage, which is good. So if anybody comes in and is visiting you, you're found legally liable for them being hurt. You could get into a contest with the property owner's insurance. So it's better to just have that renter's insurance, have that personal liability coverage, and you know that you're covered. It's easy. Most renter's insurance policies are $15 to $20 a month, $200 for the year, less than $200 for the year. So it's totally worth it.
Yeah. Okay, let's take another break. You're live in local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. Got a caller just hanging on the line there. We'll be right back.
we're back.
And we are back and on the line, Royce Bennett. Hey, Royce, what's up?
Hey guys, good morning. I had a quick question for Morgan.
Shoot.
Morgan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Look, I had a roofing guy, some company, come by my house and tell me that they can put a roof on my house and the insurance company would pay for it. Is there any truth to something like that? Does the insurance company want to make sure that I have a good roof on my house?
So what I will say with that is your insurance will cover your roof if they determine that the damage to the roof is by a covered peril. So regular maintenance and repair is most likely not going to be approved by your insurance company. I've run into this before with roofers too. They say that and then they call your insurance carrier and submit a claim. So it's very important when you're having that conversation that you don't just say, yeah, sure. Because what they do is they'll call, open up a claim, and the claim process will start. And they have, if they don't know. So what a claim adjuster will do is come out and look at it. And if they determine that it's not a covered peril, then you just opened up a claim on your claim history. And now you're out of luck of your insurance paying that. So anytime someone says that and coming by, it's always good to just get a second opinion and then call your insurance agent, because regular maintenance and replacement is not covered by your insurance. It has to be covered by a peril that is listed within the document. So something, an act of God or something along those lines would have had to cause damage to that roof for then it to be covered by your insurance.
Something like something falling out of a helicopter.
Yeah. Or wind, or, determining wind. And so if there hasn't been any storms in a while and they're like, oh, well, the shingles are missing. Okay, well, what's the reason for the shingles missing? If there hasn't been a storm in the last couple weeks, or,
because the shingles are 40 years old, Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they're not quite that old, but I don't think I could get away with that claim.
I don't think
didn't,
you can either.
It's not,
didn't pay much attention to him.
That's a good question, though.
It is a great question.
Yep. I mean, a lot of people get caught up in that.
They do. I
All
had
right,
it.
y'all have a good morning.
All right. Thank you, Royce.
You too. Good morning.
Oh, my.
Too funny.
It
It happens
But
a
that's
lot.
a scam
Really?
thing, though,
It
too.
is.
I've
That's
never
very
heard of that.
scam.
I actually had that happen not too long ago, and thankfully, I think the person did get away with it. There was some stuff that happened that was covered, but they'll go out there, they'll say, you've got that damage, it can be covered by your insurance.
Yeah.
Well, they're looking for a job, which is fine, and
yeah.
it probably does need to be replaced if it's an old roof, but you should always ask your insurance agent.
Okay, now there's one question here. Suppose I've got insurance, but suppose I don't have home wind and hail insurance, and there gets to be a hurricane out there, not beating down our door yet, but it's coming off the coast of Africa, and I'm watching it. At what point in time will I not be able to add wind and hail?
That point right
Yes.
there.
Yeah. As soon as there is any indication that there could be a potential storm.
Well, that's every
heading
June through November.
I know, on the weather map,
Yeah.
when the weather service indicates that there are, storms or systems that could be coming this direction, especially when it comes to tropical depressions and hurricanes, insurance carriers are going to put a pause on any new business, and they're pretty good about that.
Is that when it's named, or is there a specific time or a quadrant that it has to be in?
It's typically not necessarily named yet, but when there's a big system like that. So when we had a few weeks ago, when that
tropical depression,
the tropical depression came right off the coast, as soon as that was kind of indicated on the weather service map, insurance carriers put a pause on new business.
Okay.
So,
but if one is in the Pacific, we can add insurance.
Yeah.
If one is down in the Caribbean, that's a big ocean out there, and it could go in any direction.
So it depends carrier to carrier. Some, they kind of just keep an eye on it, and then there's not necessarily I can't give you a designated time frame. It's just when they kind of, as soon as that is put on the map there, and it's going to indicate anyway that it could impact our area, or potentially could, they're going to put a pause on new business.
If we went every year and 1st of June, when no storms out there,
Mhm.
decide to, okay, we're going to add it to it and then take it off in at the end of the hurricane season. Then can we put it on again the following year?
Yeah, when it comes to property insurance, you can cancel policies anytime. It's just a matter of also too, if you have a mortgage, you're going to be required to have that. If you
Sure.
don't have one, then it's just kind of personal preference on how much money you want to pay, because anytime let's say you don't have a mortgage, but you want to buy that coverage, you can cancel it. Then you're going to get a refund for the unused premium. But then just know, like, the next time you go, you may pay a little bit more because they'll notice you had a lapse in coverage. So it's really just,
Okay.
it just, you get an increased premium rate based on your insurance history if you've had a long lapse of coverage. So, I mean, that's, if you want to take that route, go for it. Go wild.
I have one more quick question.
Yeah.
This person said, there is also another endorsement that a homeowner can get that will cover a broken water pipe inside your house and floods and cause damage. So not all policies have it. What is this? 'Cause
That's
they've heard
called,
about it.
yep. So that's called water backup and some charge. So that usually starts at $5,000. Some carriers cap at 10. Some carriers offer more than that. I've seen pretty much from 5,000 to 20,000. It's called water backup.
Okay. You have to add it though.
Yep, you have to add it. Most independent agents in our area will automatically include that.
So it must not
in
be
their
very
quote.
expensive.
No, it's not very expensive, and it's a good coverage to have.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hadn't thought
most,
about that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
most, if you're getting quoting, they will include that automatically for a quote.
I
Just
need to
because
find out if
it's
I have it.
Yeah, I
yeah.
do too.
I
most
need to find that
most are
out.
going to add at your minimum 5,000, and then others may add 10,000. Like I said, it can usually go up to 20. It just depends on what carriers can offer. So
Morgan, thank you.
thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
coming
me.
in.
Yeah,
of course.
Very
Good
informative,
information.
yeah.
Of course.
We
I am
like that.
glad to be able to share my knowledge.
All right. Thank you. That's Morgan Cunningham with the Brown Insurance Agency right here in Jacksonville. Look them up. If you need insurance, you got questions, just ask for Morgan. She'll take care of you. You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. Fox News break is now. And in about a minute, we've got Marissa Reeder in here from the Jacksonville Onsla Sports Commission with some sports news you want to hear. And we're back. And like I said, joining us right now, Marissa Reeder. How's that?
It's great. Good
Reeder
morning.
and Risa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we just call you Risa?
You can. That was my nickname growing up because my brother couldn't say my name.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
Oh,
my
wow.
sister still calls me Reese.
Oh, Reese.
Yeah.
Well, Reese's buttercups, and all that.
And they're delicious.
Yeah, I love them. Associate Director of the Jacksonville Onsla Sports Commission. I hope I got that right.
Yes. I just had a
Yay.
title change. So a little easier to say.
Yeah. There's a huge weekend coming up here.
Yes.
This weekend starts tomorrow.
Yes. We have our Freedom Fight boxing event. And this is the 5th year that we've hosted it.
Mhm.
And it's going to be at the Commons Recreation Complex.
Yeah.
And we see boxers that come from throughout the Southeast. We even have some flying in from Colorado Springs.
Really?
And then they're going to be competing against local talent. So
How many boxers total?
right now, what we got yesterday was 10 bouts on Friday night and 9 bouts on Saturday.
Wow.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Is it a battle to the finish?
So I can't remember
Last man standing?
it's
think
not
it's different
there's,
weight classes.
There's different weight classes.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not sure that all those weight classes. We have some partners that handle everything inside
Right.
the ring, so to speak.
Right.
So
Growing up, well, I never grew up, but when I was a kid, I used to watch the Friday night fights, the
Mhm.
Gillette Cavalcade of sports, whatever it was. And the Friday night boxing was one of those, my dad and I would have to watch it. Came
Yeah.
on too late for me to be up, but I stayed up anyway on Friday nights. He let me do that. And that was a lot of fun.
this is my favorite event.
Is it?
It is. I
Oh.
love the atmosphere of it. I know some people may not
Yeah.
be into boxing, or it's not like it's MMA and there's blood going
Right.
everywhere. This
Mhm.
is a USA boxing sanctioned event. There
Mhm.
are rules, regulations. There's
Mhm.
officials that are inside the ring, and they make sure that nothing gets too far.
Yep.
So I highly recommend it. It's a very affordable event. You can bring the kids. We have some kid prices, and actually 5 and under are free. 6 to 12 is $5.
Okay.
And then we have a one day $15, and then if you want to come both days, that's $20 for adults.
Oh, really?
So
That's a
not
good
bad.
deal.
Yeah, it's a very good deal.
I think
Yeah.
it's an affordable deal,
It
and
is.
you're gonna see quite a bit of fighting. So
Mhm.
it's nice.
Yeah.
Sanctioned fighting.
Yes.
I used to go out to the, I forgot what they call it now, the Marine Corps, when they had the Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, I used to go out there and watch some notables out there over the years. And the one thing that I found out, ringside, when you're right there at ringside, there's a lot of stuff that may come your way, sweat and things like
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah.
I just got a longer lens and shot it from a different
Yeah.
location.
Yes.
That was more fun.
I sometimes get up and try and get some videos
Mm-hmm.
from, because I can get kind of close to the ring. So it's just fun.
Yeah.
I highly recommend anybody come out. The Commons is pretty centrally located within
Mhm.
Jacksonville, and we're gonna have the doors opening at 5 on Friday, and the doors open at 11
Mhm.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it will be. Each of,
It
I
depends
mean,
on how they get knocked out
Yeah.
at the beginning, or go for the
Yes.
what is it, three rounds?
So I think it depends if there's junior Olympics. Is that they call them JOs?
Mhm.
They're a little bit less. I think those are only like 2-minute rounds.
Okay.
Again, I I help market. I help sell the tickets. Inside the ring, I'm not as familiar with how many
Yeah,
minutes.
that's
each
all
one.
right. I think it varies from bout to bout, and who's there. And of course, if somebody gets knocked out in the beginning, right at the beginning,
Well, it's going to go to
first
the next
punch,
round,
yep,
Yeah.
the
move
next
on.
match.
Yes.
Yeah.
This brings in some money, does it
So
not?
this is in conjunction with the All Marine Boxing Hall of Fame. They have their many alumni that come in because they host a banquet Saturday evening.
Mhm.
So there'll be people coming in today, tomorrow, and they're going to stay the whole weekend. They could stay Sunday into Monday. So you're going to probably see, well, I should say the hotels, excuse me,
Right.
they'll see an uptick.
Good impact.
Yes.
It's
So
positive.
we track that. I mean, we track not only the events that we host, but we try and compile a list of other sporting events that happen within Onsla County, and we create what's called an economic impact.
Yeah.
And so we just calculated that for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, and it's $2,028,000
Really?
and some change. Yeah.
Cool.
So that
Excellent.
information's on our website. If anyone, I geek out on the economics of tourism, to be honest. Just got back from some training, and we went through how and each community calculates a little bit differently. So we do it on just a certain formula that we're actually discussing if it's a little bit low. It's $166 per night per person per person that we figure out. But other communities do what's called a multiplier. And so they'll do, for every direct spending $1, they add like 75 cents to another dollar in that, what would they call a ripple effect. So if someone stays in a hotel, but then they go out to eat, or they actually calculate how the local and state taxes are affected, because there are people that are hired through the hotel, and so it's this ripple effect, and
Yeah.
I could go on and on. But basically, the economics of that, tourism is an economic driver.
Well, you can rest assured, people staying in a hotel, they're going to eat somewhere.
Yes.
So it just depends upon which restaurants they go to and how much it's going to cost them.
Yes.
So,
And we have lots of options.
oh,
here.
we do. We got plenty of options. That is for sure. Next weekend,
Yes. This is a big event.
football jamboree. It's too hot to have football. I hope it'll
Um,
cool down by
So
next week.
this event, I always joke and say it's my 3 shower day because
Uh-huh.
it is so
I know
humid,
the feeling.
so hot. But we've backed it off a little bit where, I mean, the gates don't open until 4:15. We only use one field. And then we put them into pods is what we call them. So we have 3 pods of games, and the
Mhm.
last set doesn't start until 8:45. So if you get there when the gates open till the end, I mean, you're seeing quite a bit of football
Yeah.
for $7.
Wow.
Yes.
Really?
Yep. So these are preseason scrimmages, and we have 8 as of right now. Lejeune is still a part of it. We have the 8 local high school teams, and then the 4 out of town.
Yeah. South Wayne's coming. West Carteret, Spring Creek, West Craven
Yes.
will all be here. The list I've got here: Jacksonville, of course, Jacksonville High, North Side, Southwest, Onslow, White Oak, Lejeune, Dixon, and Richlands and Swansboro.
Mhm.
That's cool.
It's all ours.
Yeah.
So the schedule is available on our website,
Mhm.
playjosc.com. The football, jamboree, and boxing have their own page, and the tickets for boxing and for football are available now. That just saves you time, because I know at least with football that line can get quite long. So if you just want to buy your tickets, for that convenience, you have a separate line that you just scan and enter.
So the teams, I think they started the earliest they could start practicing in high school by the rules of the North Carolina. I believe was last Monday, the 1st.
I believe you're right.
Okay, so they
They
start,
can't put pads on until a certain time as well.
sure.
And I think next Wednesday is the first time they can have a scrimmage, and then they can't do back-to-back evenings.
Mhm.
So the problem with this event is if we have bad weather, which we've had for a couple of years, and because we don't have a turf fields, we can't tear up some schools' fields if it's been too much rain. So we've had to cancel in the past.
Mm.
We try and have rain dates. So our rain date this year is Saturday. But the problem becomes if we get so much rain on that Friday and Saturday, we still have to cancel.
Right.
But we really only have a window of about 4 or 5 days to host this event every year due to the rules.
Sure.
So I know all the coaches love it, all the teams, and it's a great local event. And obviously we bring some people from outside the area with the outside teams. And part of the proceeds that are raised go back to the schools.
Mhm.
So I think that's always good to know. And Bob Mills Mitsubishi is our sponsor this year. And we appreciate the support to put on this event.
Mhm. Okay. Now let's move on. Rest of the year, rest of
Rest of
this
the-
calendar year.
I knew you were going to ask
I
this
knew you knew
question.
that I would ask you that.
So I brought my trout series information with me.
That's a big event too.
Yeah. So we've increased the prize pool to 10,000.
Really?
Yes.
For a fish, for a big trout.
So this is, they have to fish 3 out of 5 to qualify for the series
Okay.
and payout. And then we have added an event. It's the Robert Trott Memorial Speckled Trout. And it is September 17th. So that kicks off the series.
Okay.
And it is artificial only for
Hey.
that one.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different than all of our other events. So then we have one which is the Sports Commission's Speckled Trout event is October 15th. Then November 5th is the Jacksonville Speckled Trout Tournament. November 12th, the Swansboro Century Club Speckled Trout Tournament. And then November 19th, the Jacksonville Rotary Speckled Trout
Right.
Shootout is what theirs is called.
Wow. So we got 5 tournaments,
Yes.
trout tournaments.
Yes.
And if you guys are fishing in it and you don't want your fish after you weigh it, you
So
can give it to me.
Oh, you would have.
I love speckled trout.
what I loved about, so when I went to the Swansboro Century Club, they had people releasing them right there.
Yeah, they do.
So it was great.
They're just alive. It's catch, keep them alive,
Mhm.
and weigh them, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then they turn them loose.
Yes.
Are they required to turn them loose? Well, no. They
That's
probably
a good
are.
question.
They probably are. I'll have a net there waiting for them.
Yeah, they last year was my first year ever being around any fishing events, and it was really interesting. But I'll tell you, they won't tell you where they go, and they're very protective.
If
and
they tell you where they go, they are lying. I will tell you that right
Yes.
now. I've heard trout guys especially.
Mhm.
Where'd you catch that fish? In the mouth. Where were you fishing? Catherine's Lake. And they right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, from a marketing standpoint, I would like to have photos of the boats and the fish. No,
Not going to
No.
happen.
no,
Yeah,
Nope.
I look at that.
No. no. If we do any, it'll be like a posed sort of photo shoot.
Mm,
So, but we're excited to have this event. We're hoping that the bigger the prize pool, hopefully that's going to bring more people in.
mhm.
And we've got some great partners that help us put on this event because honestly, Scott and I, we don't know what we're doing, which that's the beauty of the Sports Commission. You find people that know what they're doing, and then we're able to help in the ways that we know how and the connections that we have.
Yeah, we with the Onsla Bay Saltwater Fishing Club, that's we meet once a month. That might be something that we'll talk up to next month
Okay.
in a meeting, maybe this month, because George down at Tideline, he's involved with the Rotary Club too. He and
Okay.
his wife. Well, his wife is the president of the Jacksonville Breakfast Rotary Club. Is that the one?
No,
That's the
this
other one.
is
Okay.
gosh,
The other one of the other was.
there's three. Is there 3 or 4 in Jacksonville? I can't
think there
remember.
are 3 in Jacksonville. There's one in Swansboro, one in Sneaks Ferry.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of them.
So this one Scott is a part of, and our treasurer Steve Wangren is a part of, and they meet on Tuesdays, and they just changed it. This is big news. They changed it to noon that they meet on Tuesdays.
Okay.
I know there's one group I think that meet on Wednesdays at noon, maybe.
I don't know.
Then
There's one that meets in the mornings, and I'm like, they keep asking, well, will you come join? How? You had it over here. We could.
that's true.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm kind of busy.
Yes. I think I've spoke at that one in the past when I was at the USO. So regardless, the Rotary, they do great things.
Yeah, they do. Looking forward to next year.
Well, we will round out the year with our Freddy's Frozen Custard Challenge and 5K. So that's the last Sports Commission owned and operated event. And then the last event we have a running series is the Mary Fitness 5K that's owned and operated by the New River YMCA.
Okay.
And at that event, we hand out the awards. So throughout the year, runners are earning points based on their finish. So if they are top overall, they get so many points based on the distance and so on. And then if they do so many races, they earn certain medals or a medal holder. And so that all comes together in like a little awards presentation after the Mary Fitness 5K in December. I think it's December. I'm going to say this wrong. I think it's December 9th.
But it's on your website.
It is, yes. And we do have a specific website just for our running series. It is December 10th, sorry. And that's the racejosc.com. And so that'll start over next year with all the points. And
Okay. Cool.
you can earn free races. I will put that out there.
Free races?
Yes. So based on like first place gets so many free races, and we have age categories. So we have male, female, and then we have the masters category for male, female. And then we do a riders category for the Ainsley's Angels, if you're familiar with that organization. And so if they get first place, like I said, they get so many free races. And then if someone does all of the races, regardless how many points they earn, they get a free race of their choice in 2023.
Okay. So Kelly, which one do you want to enter?
None.
Which race?
None.
Why?
Mm-mm.
We have some people that just walk them, so we don't have any time limits on our events. And
So you can walk it?
I could walk it.
and that's what we find is some people they love the finisher medal or the t-shirt, and they're like, but I'm not a runner. Well, we want to get away from that. I mean, you're putting one foot in front of the other. You're out there. You're you're supporting an
Yeah,
organization.
sure.
So, feel free to sign up. And then once you sign up for one, you get a discount code that's available throughout the year for the rest of the races. So we try and put those incentives in so that people are, and I know as a runner myself, I am always trying to strive for something. So that's why I'm going to sign up for a race a couple of times a year, just so I have my training is going for something. So we're trying to inspire that with them as well. And we will kick off the year with our fitness expo in January. And then one of our trending events, as I'll say, is our Sledgehammer Beach Run. And we find that for last year, we had 304 register.
Wow.
50% of them were from 2 hours or more away.
Wow.
And with a 7:30 a.m. start,
You got to get up and move. Or
they're
spend the
either
night.
getting up really early or they were spending the night.
That would be the good thing.
Yes.
Okay. Marisa, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I
Thank you for
appreciate
coming
it.
in. And we'll look forward to it. We'll get you back in here probably in September for the fishing series.
Yes,
'Cause I
I'll
really
bring
wanna
someone that
push
knows
that.
more than me with me.
Well, you'll learn. Why don't you go fishing?
Oh, goodness. Yes, they keep trying to get me out on a boat.
Well, you should do that.
Well, I'll just hang out on the boat. I don't mind just, going out there. I'll try fishing at least one time.
Don't worry, I don't do it either.
Okay, Marisa Reeder, the Jacksonville Onsla Sports Commission Associate Director. So we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WSME. All right, if you've been shopping for a boat, you really want a boat. You want it designed the way you want it designed. You know, it's been kind of tough. The boating business, the manufacturers have been so backed up trying to get boats turned out because of that P word, the pandemic, and nobody was working for so long, and they couldn't get the boats turned out. Could not provide enough boats for dealers. They're back in business. They're still backlogged, trying to deliver orders, produce orders from 2020 and 21, believe it or not. Tideline Marine right here in Jacksonville, they've got several of the top-end Lund John boats, perfect for our waters around here, the creeks and stuff, as well as the White Oak and New Rivers. And they've also got several of the Aquasport Bay boats. Now, these are high-end boats. These are really good boats. You can fish with them in the ocean. It's not what they call offshore boats, but near shore is good. Onsla Bay, which is where we live, is perfect for that. If you're serious, Tideline is taking orders for motors, for boats and motors and trailers for delivery next year. A lot of boat dealers are doing the same thing. They're trying to get ahead of the game. If that sounds ridiculous, just remember the boat manufacturers are still backed up, and they will be back in full swing soon. So get on in, stop in, have a chat with George. Tell him how you want your boat to look, what you want. He'll show you catalogs and brochures, and he'll be glad to help you out there. Tideline Marine and Family, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Southwesterly winds today, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3, dominant period 4 seconds, a little dicey in the inlet, but only 2 to 3 footers. It's okay. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Now, tomorrow and Saturday, winds out of the south at 5 to 10, seas around 2 feet, not much to it tomorrow. Dominant period 6 seconds.
Today, mostly sunny, a high of 93, heat index value as high as 103, and we're actually under a heat advisory. So please take precautions if you're going to be outside today. It also will be gusty, so it'll be a gusty heat with gusts as high as 16 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 75. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 91, still gusty. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, low of 75. And on Saturday, mostly sunny, a high of 91. Rayford, I found a story.
What's that?
And it's I don't know how I would handle this. I will have to say it took place in Overland Park, Kansas. A man came home. So apparently a crew of contractors, you got to see the picture, tore the entire roof off this man's house. It was the wrong house. When they realized that they were not at the right house, they just left. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know who it is. He doesn't know who it is. He does not know. It happened last it happened on this past Tuesday.
I can tell him how I can find him.
He has gone to Nextdoor apps and the Facebook apps asking the neighbors, were you scheduled to get your roof repaired? Because they came to the wrong house. He's trying to find out because he's contacted the police and his insurance company.
Go to the building inspection department. They will have to issue a permit for this work to be done.
Oh, yeah.
And then just get whoever's got permits in that neighborhood and go find them.
I mean,
that's the way I would do it.
You want to talk about getting upset. I mean, this man has a nice, good sized house, and they ripped this entire
Where's
roof
Morgan
off.
when we need her?
Yeah, I know, right? Can you imagine coming home and your roof is just gone? I mean, they stripped down to, there's plywood showing. I mean,
that's down to the.
I would hurt somebody, seriously. Can you? That is awful.
I would just own them. Forget about hurting them. I appreciate that new roof.
Sue the fire out of that company. I mean, how do you not know?
I would just give them the opportunity to make good on it. No, I don't want those old shingles back. I don't want that kind of shingle. Here's what I want. I want me a tin roof. I want also. I mean, God gracious.
This right here legitimately looks like a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this black thing is, but it looks like a hole into the Oh my word! Look at that, Rayford. Does that not look like a hole?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh man, I would be furious. This poor guy, and to not know, that's even worse.
Oh.
I mean, I would go to my next door neighbors first. I mean, you would think I don't know how this even occurred. I feel bad
It's
for
a
him.
time to have a Ring doorbell.
Yes, yes. Oh, and do you remember that emissions bill in the state where it was signed into law on 2020, and it was supposed to go into effect January 1st, 2021.
Except
And 12 counties in eastern North Carolina were exempted by the federal EPA. And of course, what happened was, according to Representative Phil Shepherd, according to this article, each county's legislative delegation had to go through and pass the bill in Raleigh to make it complete. Onsla was one of the 12 to never get it done. So the House started running bills about 3 or 4 sessions ago to exempt Onsla County. He ran a bill that passed the House and Senate, but by the time it was passed, the blanket coverage was no more. What a fiasco this mess is.
We've complained about it.
And people are upset because
inspections places have complained about it.
It's costing people several $100s, even people low income, to get this taken care of. And apparently the bill was supposed to be enacted this October, and the EPA had steps they needed to take in order for the county to get final approval. But now the EPA is stalling. And here's the worst part about that. Because our president is such a
jerk,
I don't know what word I would use, but the EPA, and he's against stuff like this, emissions and whatever. People are now worried it's not going to get taken care of. Oh, what a hot
We
mess
lost again, our local delegation.
Yeah, because they should have taken care of this when it first came out.
Yes. All the other counties did, 88 of them.
Well, what was our local delegation doing that couldn't get it done?
They certainly weren't doing what they're paid to do.
Well, half of them are running for re-election. Maybe people ought to ask that question.
They're all running for re-election.
Okay, well then ask the question. Why should I vote for you again? You sat on your butt and didn't get this thing passed when you had the chance to. Yep. Does it not matter what matters to the citizens? Is it only mattering now because you're running for re-election? Too late now.
Yeah.
Once again, bubbling boobs.
That door has been closed, I'm afraid.
Voters need to remember this stuff.
I do remember it.
So then you know who not to vote for.
Yeah,
I do. Just saying.
Got your electric car on order yet?
No.
Why?
Because I will never own one.
Well, you might be walking.
I probably will be at some point. I'm going to just go get a donkey from Tim and attach a little, cart to it, and that's how I'll get around.
Yeah, you need to get one that's covered, though, because
I want to cover one. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Can you get air conditioning for those carts?
If they can for lawnmowers, you could probably get one for a cart. Yeah.
A man suffered serious injuries in North Wales Tuesday morning when his electric vehicle spontaneously, without warning, burst into flames.
See?
According to the Liverpool Echo, the man was driving on a highway. Mm-hmm. It's known as the North Wales Expressway. His car reportedly caught on fire. No warning. Bystanders rushed to the vehicle to pull the man from the flames. Paramedics attended to the victim at the scene. Police said the man was eventually transported to a hospital with serious, possibly life-changing injuries. Don't know what that means.
No.
The ambulance service said 2 rapid response vehicles, an emergency ambulance, helicopter, and the emergency medical retrieval and transfer service responded to the scene. They closed the road at the site of the incident about 8:45 local time, remained that way for several hours. Police said the fire crews remained at the scene until yesterday afternoon due to the car involved being an electric vehicle. The incident followed another electric car fire that made headlines earlier this week, though the actual incident occurred in June. This guy, Mr. Gonzalo Salazar, sent an email that he purchased a new Jaguar I-Pace in 2020. He did not have any issues with the vehicle until 2 years later, but when they did arise, they were significant. He said he left his car plugged in overnight on June 16th, and he took it to the next day to run errands. He drove the car for just about 12 miles before returning to the garage. After going inside his house, Salazar said he began hearing strange popping noises from the garage. He went outside, saw thick smoke coming from the vehicle. Oh my goodness. He said, when there's smoke, there's fire. He called the Jaguar roadside assistance and asked them to transport the vehicle to a safe place, but he still got worse.
Hmm.
Had to call 911 to help with the situation. Inside the garage, on fire. What happened to his house?
I just, once again, yeah, I don't know. I just,
The majority of the car was completely destroyed by the fire.
yes, yes.
It wasn't in the garage. There it is.
Oh my word, Rayford! There's only the front end of the car is that thing burned to the
yeah, it melted
ashes.
everything down.
Oh my! Now that's kind of scary to think about. Yikes!
No, not gonna do it.
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Mhm.
China claimed its military successfully executed precision missile strikes in the Taiwan Strait early today, a day after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi left the island. China repeatedly condemned Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, which China claims as its own territory, threatened to take action at the time. On her final day in Taiwan, China's Navy and Air Force began conducting military exercises, live fire exercises in 6 zones around Taiwan, some overlapping Taiwan's territorial waters. The United States deployed several warships to the area.
Mhm.
Great. See what you did, Pelosi?
Mhm.
Long-range armed live-fire precision missile strikes were carried out on selected targets in the eastern area of the Taiwan Strait. The expected outcome was achieved, according to China's military. The military command did not provide additional details. Taiwan's defense ministry said its own military forces were monitoring the Chinese movements while careful to avoid any confrontation that could risk escalating the situation. Yuck. Got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, you're up.
Okay.
Any callers want to weigh in on whatever? 910-333-0139. We'll be right back. Hey, tomorrow morning, Mike McHugh with the Swansboro Chamber of Commerce is going to join us at 7:30. Come in and talk about a red flag town hall meeting in Swansboro scheduled for, I guess it's next week. Yep.
What's
on the
that? What's a
11th.
red flag town
We're
hall
going to
meeting?
find out. Maybe they're going to
Okay.
raise the red flag or something like that. Got some
Interesting.
stuff here. The Coast Guard has joined the search for a missing boater. Carter County Sheriff's Office said he disappeared. Don't know anything about it. Hey, last time they made that announcement yesterday. They said Jonathan Hess, he's 38, of Buxton, left the South River boat ramp about 4 o'clock Tuesday and has not returned. The Coast Guard said they were notified of the situation 10 o'clock yesterday morning. The 38-year-old man's vehicle was still at the ramp. His cell phone is off, probably battery dead or whatever, but the last ping on it was near Oriental. He was in a 23-foot Maycraft boat, had a T-top. 1995 boat, and it was a borrowed boat. One of his friends, he had just taken the boat out for a ride. Coast Guard's got a chopper up, has had a chopper up looking, and boat crews from the Coast Guard Station Hatteras Inlet and Coast Guard Station Hoboken are searching for Hess. North Carolina Wildlife is also assisting. Oh my!
Yeah.
That's hate to hear those things. I hope he's
do.
just
Yeah.
hope his phone's just dead, and he probably doesn't have a VHF radio on board, but hopefully they'll find him somewhere and safe and sound.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Very sad.
okay. What you got going?
So do you remember yesterday we touched upon the mom in Texas who is upset about CRT and
Yeah.
she threatened the Texas House of Representatives education meeting with lawsuits if her daughter is taught critical race theory. And she told him, get on this lady. Her name is Gabrielle Clark. She said, this is her quote. So I'm going to read this exactly as she said it, what she told them. If my daughter is taught CRT at all, I will sue you. If my daughter is taught social and emotional learning at all, I will sue you. I'm encouraging every parent I know to sue every teacher, every principal, every system, everybody up the chain because we're tired of y'all. She said this on June 26th. She said, I'm an atheist, bisexual, biracial, homeless person. I do not want my child to be taught that just because she is black and a woman, she ain't going to make it. I do not want my daughter to be taught she needs to express herself sexually in the classroom. Good on her. She said that her 2 kids, a daughter and a son, had been indoctrinated with CRT and that social emotional learning. She said, I swear to you, I promise you, I will turn this into a class action lawsuit, ambulance chasing business. I mean, but this is what I'm saying. People are fed up with nonsense. And this is a lady with a black daughter.
Yeah.
She's biracial. I mean, so she is, and she's right. Why are you teaching people that the color of their skin makes them inferior? It goes up to that with those schools that are just, giving out grades just for being in there, but you're not earning them. You're not setting people up for failure when you do that.
That's demeaning
It
when you
is,
do it. It's
because
demeaning to a kid or to adults too. Same thing.
if I were black, I'd be mad as heck. I'd be like, do you think I'm not good enough to earn my own grade or do this? I mean, seriously? I mean, there should be more outrage because if I were a person of color, no matter what the color was, I would be absolutely livid that things are being changed to quote accommodate me. In other words, as if I'm not good enough to do it on my own merits, and that's basically what this boils down to. Good on this lady. I mean, she sounds like a pistol,
a fireball. I like it.
She drove 3 hours to that meeting.
If you do this, I'm going to sue you. If you do that, I'm going to sue you. I promise you, if you do anything that I don't like, I'm going to sue you. Yeah, well, good for you. I bet she could get an attorney, probably
and
a team of attorneys to do it.
She said, I've got my head strategically placed so that you don't see the hole in my wall because, there's no money in this. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do. But a lot of parents are too afraid to speak out. And, a lot of parents are, but they're starting to find their voices. And it goes back to Loudoun County, where they,
they opened that door.
They opened the door. And I think Loudoun County, Virginia made parents realize that, you know what, you do have power and you do have control over what your kids are being taught in school. And your voice does matter. And it took those people not backing down and standing up and one or two, that dad even being arrested for people to go, hold up. Let's just wait a minute here and figure out what we need to do. Because if the parents don't get involved in their kids' education and what's being taught to their children, who's going to? You have to speak up. You have to, and sometimes you're standing alone, but believe me when I tell you, there's probably a lot of other people that think just like this lady. And sometimes people need that one person to speak out for them to go, yeah, and then everybody starts banding together. CRT is horrific.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's demeaning. It is degrading. And it's telling somebody that they're inferior, and they're not inferior. And I agree with this lady 100%. I mean, and she's right. She said, we're not going what? She said, for example, you would not, when teaching children anatomy, bring a cadaver to a classroom. Well, somebody probably would, but yeah, I agree with her. She said, we're not going to give a 7-year-old a scalpel and lay a fresh cadaver out on the table and tell them to go dig out that kidney. We don't do that. That would scar a child for life to have to do something like that.
Absolutely.
It would scar me for life. Said, so telling a child that they're black and a woman, they're on the bottom of the oppression privilege matrix, is just as terrible, putting them in a lifelong state of victimhood. She's right. This woman is not wrong about any of this that she has said so far. Yeah, she said, every single day we go to school and we see our teachers lie to us right to our faces. And you say you have our best interests at heart. So why does everything have to be so difficult? Why do you have to be a lawyer to figure all this stuff out? She's right. She said there should not be bureaucratic steps to remove pornographic books from public schools. She's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The problem is who do you put in charge of making sure you can't have one person, because one person is going to be swayed of what kind of books it can be in the schools.
Well,
it's
going to
have to be a group. Well, yeah,
some
but
of it is.
There's nothing common about
sense.
common sense anymore.
I agree with that too. We need to go back to the basics. And she's right about one thing about this. She's also upset with the gender inclusive language. I am with this lady on this because she says, I'm a mother, not a birthing person. I earned that right with my cellulite and my stretch marks. You're not going to do this to us. We will fight you every single day from now on. This lady is my hero. She's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a picture here sent around, part of a news release. And the release, I'm not even going to tell you about it because it's good. They did a good job. It's for kids and everything.
Okay.
But look at this picture. Do you see anything wrong with this picture?
Yeah, the kids don't have life jackets on.
Yeah, they do. Those are life jackets.
Oh.
They got life jackets on. They're about 10 years old. But they're standing on the gunnel of a boat. Small boat. Yeah. Standing on the gunnel.
Oh,
they're not inside the boat.
No, not inside the boat. Oh, I see that now. Oh, you're right, Rayford. That's a hazard.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
The boat's not moving,
No,
but they're standing inside. They're standing on the dang gunnel.
But the water's moving. It's still going to sway you a little bit. I mean,
or
come on.
Little kids take missteps from time to time, too.
Yeah.
I mean, good they got the life jackets on. That's required.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad of that. And I like the colors of the life jacket, red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just, people, don't put your kids standing on the gunnel of your boat. Don't let them do that. Don't let them put their hands overboard or dangle their legs from the boat while you're driving. Those are all very dangerous.
Very much
dangerous
so.
things.
Even I know that.
I'm not going to get up there because the boat may stop suddenly.
Yeah.
Might hit something. Could hit a sandbar. Whoops. Wham-a-lam.
Mm-hmm.
You know what happens then?
Yeah.
You get hurt. You're live and local, Real Talk. We have time for a call or two when we come back if you want to chat with us. 910-333-0137. Did I say that?
Yes,
0139. 910-333-0139. We'll be right back. Conflicting messages.
Mhm.
Always coming out of the White House. Biden economic advisor Amos Hochstein, he had to confront the White House's conflicting narratives during an interview yesterday when he was asked about the administration's rush to take credit for the lower gas prices, even though he blamed constantly Putin and oil executives when prices were high. White House says, hey, we've been very successful. Lower gas prices after the national average dropped to $4.16, down from $4.81 last month. He was asked during an interview on America Reports whether it was fair for administration officials to own the decrease in gasoline prices after spending months blaming Russia for the rise and insisting it was out of their control. The war in Ukraine is still raging and prices are coming down. What about the idea that this was Putin's price hike? Roberts, his interviewer, asked. Hochstein rejected the suggestion from critics that the Putin war against was a fallacy. He said the prices started going up as soon as Putin started intervening in Europe. No, they didn't. They started going up before then. The main increase in prices was when Putin started to intervene in the markets in the early fall of last year and long before the invasion. When he started increasing the security premiums, those went up. Nope, it started in 2020, not in 2021.
Right.
The day after the elections in 2020. That's when the prices started going up. I was making a note of it at the time, if you'll recall. Really, really, really. If the war is still going on, which it is, how are the prices coming down? What's that got to do with Putin?
Good question.
And the war is still going on. Well, whatever. Okay, still nothing in the tropics.
Nope.
Looking down there, looking out to the Atlantic. No disturbances, the National Hurricane Center is saying. So hopefully we will be all clear for a little bit longer. Hopefully be all clear all winter, all the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, a week from this Saturday, I'll be leaving on a jet airplane.
I know you will be.
Yeah, you need to practice any?
Nope, I got it.
You're good to go. So you'll leave it in your hands and Lee's hands, and y'all can have a lot of fun. So let's see, the Hen House Chronicles.
According to Tim, yes.
There you go.
The Hen House
Chronicles.
Yeah.
Maybe Tim will come in.
Yeah, I might get him in here.
Yeah, he could be your token at that time, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I want to see him ride Theo in here one morning. Bring the donkey.
I'm gonna go and see him. Can't do it this weekend, but I may try to do it next week. Next weekend and see, and I'll take a video of Theo and put it on our page
Would
and
you?
stuff. Yeah,
That would be nice.
Yeah.
And while I'm gone, I'm going to try to Skype in on occasion.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
I know you're not going to do it
that.
much. You didn't do it last time, and so don't even try to say you will.
Last time where?
The last time you were there, you didn't Skype in very often. Last year,
I did it, but not
often.
every day.
No,
I didn't do it every day.
Not at all.
No, you didn't need me. That's
No,
why.
but not the point. People still like to hear from you.
Well, I'll still post some videos and stuff like that from there underwater.
Yeah.
By the way, I've got a couple of them up there now on our YouTube channel, and the octopus, he got a lot of hits.
Yeah,
he's had a lot.
The
of
octopus
hits
video is cool.
Yeah, I got a
very cool.
second part of that too. I think I'll go ahead and put up there.
Put that up there. Yeah,
because it's I liked him. He's really cool. Tomorrow again, Mike McHugh is going to join us from the Swansboro Chamber of Commerce. There's a Red Flag Town Hall meeting. He's going to tell us all about what
I'm
that
very
is.
curious as to what that is.
That'll be next Thursday, I think, the 11th. So, yep, it is.
Very curious.
I'm curious as well.
Sounds interesting. I have a theory on what I think it's about, but I'm not sure. So
I don't know. I have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
You're live and local Real Talk here on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. Don't forget, you can also listen to us and listen to all the shows at WSME971.com. And you've got the radio apps that are available out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one from Simple Radio, works out very well. Yeah. Also on our YouTube channel, just go to youtube.com and search for Live and Local be sure you add Real Talk because there are a bunch of
There's a bunch
lives
of
and
live and
locals all
locals,
over
yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
But search for that. And when you find it, and if you like what you see, you can look at all the old shows that we've been doing, and those videos I just mentioned. How about subscribing to it?
Yeah.
Just hit subscribe. That's how we know who's looking and who's not. And we're not going to send you a bunch of junk.
No, we're not.
We don't do that.
No.
That's not the idea. I don't have the time nor the energy, and definitely not the desire, because I get bombarded with enough crap as it is, and I don't want to subject you to anything that we might do.
Yeah.
But feel free. What it will do is also every time there's a live or any new video posted,
Yeah, you'll get a
you'll
notification.
get a notification.
Yes.
That's the best thing to do. So hang in there for that. And Kelly and I, we're back in here tomorrow.
Yep.
7 o'clock, 22 hours from now. See you then. Have a great rest of your day. You're live and local Real Talk.